Welcome back to our Zenith Super Duty build. Today, we started working on the horizontal stabilizer. It's a cold, blustery day, so let's build an airplane. All of the parts come from the factory pre-cut and pre-drilled, but most of the edges still have a burr, so every build segment starts with finding the parts we'll be using and removing the burrs and sharp edges. You can see here that we've already found everything and laid it out on the benches, and we're starting on cleaning and removing the part labels. We're using mineral spirits, but it didn't work very well and left the parts feeling oily. Eventually, we realized that cleaning before deburring forces us to clean everything twice. So after this, we're switching to acetone and cleaning as the last step rather than the first. With prep work finished, it was time to pull out the drawings and the Cleco pliers. The drawings are pretty straightforward here, so we're mostly lining up the holes and putting a Cleco everywhere that looks reasonable. It's good that the build starts off easy, because at this point we're still trying to get ourselves organized. The bench looks like a mess because we have no idea what we're doing. The bolt holes for the rear bracket aren't drilled to the final size here. Apparently, this is a known problem. It's easy to correct and not a big deal. But when you're just starting off, you don't really know what to expect. And this is your first encounter with the idea that a kit that's advertised as final hole size isn't really. So it's good to get that disappointment out of the way early. It's a bit warmer today, so we have the door open to let in some fresh air. But you can see they're both still bundled up. It's still chilly outside. You can also see that the bench is now even messier. We're either making progress or we even have less of a clue. I'll let you decide. Here you can see we're finally pulling some rivets. In particular, the end brackets for the rear spar. The brackets are a bit tight, and our electric rivet puller is too large to pull those rivets. So we had to use the hand squeezer that was helpfully included in the kit. That thing is not fun, and hopefully isn't a sign of things to come. But it does give you a better appreciation of the riveters you see in the old videos who didn't have pneumatic or even electric rivet pullers. Now we're setting up the rivets for the doublers. These aren't as tight, so we can use the electric puller. This is a lot of Clecos and a lot of rivets. If you're quick, you can see Dan, one of our hangar neighbors, checking on us. Here, we're moving on to the front horizontal stabilizer spar and the ribs. The stabilizer ribs are split into nose pieces and center pieces. The center ribs get riveted between the front and the rear spars. The nose pieces get riveted to the front of the front spar. After a quick lunch break, we got back to work. Here, you can see me using a wood block and a clamp to drill out the holes in the ribs, while Christina deburrs everything and double checks my work. The holes in the nose ribs are another case of not actually final size. Neither the drawings nor the instructions tell you that, and if you're new to this, you might not catch it until it's too late. Fortunately, other builders have warned us ahead of time. Unfortunately, I forgot that A5 rivets take a number 20 drill, not a 3/16" drill. So everything you see me doing here still isn't final sized. Lou, another hangar neighbor, came over to check on us and the C-clamp that we had borrowed from him. That was nice of him. I had pushed too hard on a reluctant rivet and bent the end of one of the doublers. Just to be safe, we decided to clamp it in place before riveting it. I don't know if that was necessary, but it turned out fine. Here's where we start assembling the stabilizer and get the beginnings of something that looks like the part of an airplane. Another day at the hangar. It's sunny out and the temperature is finally going up, but so is the wind speed. The hangar's rattling and shaking was so loud we could barely hear each other. Sorry about the camera angle. We're still learning. In this, we're drilling and riveting the center ribs for the horizontal stabilizer. The workbench is a little wide for working on stuff that's in the middle, so we keep having to switch from one side to the other as we go. And we're back from lunch. The stabilizer skeleton is finished, and now we're moving on to the stabilizer skin. As always, the fun starts with deburring and cleaning. We have acetone now, so that helps, but there are still some greasy prints that just refuse to come off. With the skins all cleaned and deburred, it's time to put all the pieces together. We move the skin to the floor and put the skeleton back on the table. Then we use the 2x4 trick to pick up the skin and flip it over onto the skeleton. The camera was poorly positioned for that step. Sorry. It went smoothly, and we got the skin positioned without any trouble. We then used the 2x4 as a weight to keep the skin from falling off while we prepared to cleco. For anyone following along, that's a 14-foot long 2x4 that we salvaged from the crate that the kit shipped in. The rest of this clip is just watching us cleco. Enjoy! With that side finished, we're now leveling the table and preparing some short 2x4s so we can flip the stabilizer over and start working on the other side. The long 2x4 makes another appearance so we can bend the skin without kinking it. It's right about here when we realize that some of the holes might be too small. Pretty soon, we'll realize that a lot of the holes are too small. We're just humming along, setting rivets, and wondering why some of them don't fit. At this point, we realize that the doubler plate holes are too small, so I drill them out and then deburr and clean all the holes, again. After that, it gets clecoed in place, along with everything else. And now we do the rivets. We took a quick break to recharge and warm up, and now we're back to riveting. Don't worry, we'll move that ladder. Happy Pi Day! There was no pie for us, but we did get an engine. After being stuck in Ohio for a few days, the engine suddenly showed up this morning. Nobody called to arrange the delivery like with the Zenith kit. We just got a call from the driver saying that he's sitting outside the hangar waiting for us. So we jumped in the car and rushed to the airport. The driver was kind enough to wait, thankfully. After that, we went back to working on the stabilizer. There wasn't much left to do, other than re-drilling some of the holes. The last couple of rivets were too close to the brackets to get them with the electric puller, so we had to use the hand puller. Now we flip it over and do the other side. Finished! How does it look? Thanks for watching. Be sure to follow us on our airplane building journey.